Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I am Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart.
And I'm Rich LaRue, Vice President for Corporate Brokages in the Western region for HomeSmart and also the designated broker in the Phoenix market.
Rich, thank you for joining us today. I'm excited about our topic, and I got to tell you how it starts. Last night, I got a phone call from one of our agents. We were doing our kickoff meeting for our top 250 agents around the country. And one of the agents texted me, called me, and he had a question for me. And he said, you know, it's tougher this year than it was last year.
Yeah, it is.
He said, you know, transactions are down.
Mm-hmm.
What should I do what's the biggest opportunity for me right now? What's the low-hanging fruit from what you see in your position working with agents all across the country? What should I do that it will maximize my time?
Wow, that's a great question. I think that's on the minds of a lot of agents.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's timely. And,
It is.
You know, and in previous sessions in the podcast here, we went through an industry update. We were talking about the state of the market, where we are today. And his question is a perfect place to build on those previous episodes of the podcast because, okay, that's our foundation. That's where we're at. Now, based on that data, that information, the state of the industry, what can I do to maximize my time and help more customers buy and sell real estate, right?
So did you have an answer for him just like that off the top of your head?
Well, I did. And because my mind immediately went to our topic. And it also made me want to come in here today and do this podcast because of my conversation with him. That's
And
why
so
I'm
here we
excited.
are.
And so here we are.
Let's do this. I'm excited
let's talk
about
it.
this.
So the big thing was, he said, you know, and it's tough right now. And why? Why is it tough? Well, it's because inventory is so low.
Right.
There is just not a lot of inventory on the market, so I'm having trouble helping my customers that want to buy. So I immediately went to this phrase up on the screen right here. Let's, as a company or as agents in the industry, let's defy inventory and industry constraints right now. Let's figure out a way to generate additional inventory. And my mind immediately went to a concept that I've talked about before with some of you. It's called a mini neighborhood report. And in my mind, it's a great way to generate inventory, have home sellers that aren't thinking about buying or selling, homes that aren't on the market, get them to come on the market. Because maybe people just are thinking, I think there's perceptions sometimes that now is not a good time to sell. Or maybe, you know, they're just not thinking about it. But the mini neighborhood report is a great opportunity. So what I'd like to do is break down real quick. Let's talk about what the opportunity is, why a mini neighborhood report is probably very timely for an agent right now and how it will impact their business. Then we're going to talk about how a mini neighborhood report works. So the first is the opportunity, why it's timely. The second is, well, how does it work? And then the third will be, let's take that one concept and let's talk about 10 different ways that an agent could quickly execute that concept. Does that sound like a plan?
Excellent. Let's do this.
All right, let's dig in. All right, the first thing, let's talk about the actual opportunity itself. The opportunity for me is to send out to 10 customers a day information about what's going on in their market. And I call it a mini neighborhood report. And from there, like I said, then we're going to do the 10 ways to implement that idea. So the first thing for me is the opportunity itself. We've spent over the last couple of days some information talking about, or some time talking about looking at data. And when you look at data, data creates or shows trends and opportunities that are available.
Right.
So it highlights them, right? And our object is to, or our goal rather, our opportunity is to then share that data, share the trends, share the opportunities with our customers. So why is this opportunity so big right now? I asked you this morning to look up a number for me.
Yeah, which is on the screen right now.
Right.
Yeah.
How many homes are there in the United States?
Yeah. 140 million homes.
140 million homes.
That's a lot of inventory
So
if it
when
were on the market for sale.
Correct. And so that's when the agent asked me last night, like, what could I be doing right now? The biggest mathematical opportunity is to create more listings or to win more listings with sellers. And there are 140 million people that own homes right now that at any given moment, one of them could say, I want to sell. So from a mathematical point of view, one of the best ways to move the needle on your business or even help buyers right now who there isn't enough inventory is at any given moment, one of those 140 million people could say, I want to sell my home. And that creates a new listing. It creates new inventory, which helps those buyers.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So the opportunity is to go after listings and not waiting for a buyer to show up and helping that buyer.
Correct.
Right?
And you and I were talking earlier about how one tactic that some agents have is if you want to do 50 transactions in a year and help 50 home buyers and help 50 home buyers and sellers rather, the best way is to go win 50 listings.
Right. Yeah. What I have found, the numbers seem to prove themselves out on this. If you have a goal of selling 50 homes a year,
Right.
if you have a plan to generate 50 listings over the course of the year, chances are you will have 50 sales. Some of those listings will sell, some of them won't for whatever reason, right? But you will pick up buyers as well. And so in your planning, if you plan on 50 listings at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you should have a total of 50 sales or 50 sites.
Correct.
There. So do the math. If you want 80 sales, plan on taking 80 listings. If you want to do 100, take 100 listings.
What's that other phrase that you say to me often? List to...
Oh, list to last. Yeah. I mean, that's been a phrase that's been around in real estate for as long as we've been selling real estate. Listers last. I don't know which trainer came up with that years ago, but boy, does it make sense.
Well, but the concept of that is
longevity.
Is that every real estate agent, they have 200 or 300 buyers in their sphere, or maybe even more. But the concept is they have all these buyers. So if you have the listing, all the other realtors in the industry
are working for you,
selling that listing to their buyers.
That's right.
So
and if you have
right now,
a couple of buyers that you're working with, you're looking for that needle in the haystack, and you're competing against everyone else who's trying to buy a house as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I even know of some agents that, they're working with buyers and they can't find a home in the neighborhood that their buyers are searching for home in this school district, in this neighborhood, and nothing is for sale. So they roll up their sleeves and they actually go out and try to help generate and create that listing in that neighborhood. I have a home buyer that wants to buy in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of selling your home?
Yeah.
So the mini neighborhood report, to me, the reason why the opportunity is so big is because it's fast and it's quick, and it starts with 140 million homes in the U.S. And then there's something else. Life happens.
Yeah.
Today, people are moving. They're having job changes. I know of someone right now that is moving from California to Arizona because of a job change.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. What matters is they need a home in Arizona and they need to sell their home in California. I know someone that's moving because they have a family member that they need to move closer to. Mm-hmm. I know someone who they have a family member that they need to move close to them. They're going to sell their home where they are, but they're moving mom and dad close to them. You've got babies, jobs, parents, family, kids leaving homes, second homes.
Life happens. These are all life events that happen whether the market is up, the market is down, interest rates are high, interest rates are low, whatever it is, life happens, things go on, and sellers need to sell and buyers need to buy. and it's our job to put them together.
Perfectly said. And then when you look at the actual numbers about the actual where we're at today in
Right.
May of 2023, typically I would say an average year from my experience in the U.S. is anywhere between 4 and 5.5 million homes on average is where that need arises.
Right.
Buyers need to buy, sellers need to sell 4.5 to 5.5 million times a year, right? And we've had
Which
some years.
creates twice as many sale sites, because we're talking about 4.5 to 5.5 million sales. And yet, real estate agents, our livelihood, typically there's a sell side and there's a buy side.
Right.
And that's how we gauge it. And so that's anywhere from 9 million to 11 million sides.
Exactly.
And so, yeah.
Or 9 million to 11 million consumers that you're helping, because half of them want to buy and half of them want to sell.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's said much more eloquent than I was only looking at the sales, but we are helping people. And that's really what this is all about. We are here to help our clients.
But that's the thing I want all of you listening to the podcast right now to know. Our transactions may be down a little bit lower than they were last year. Yes. But when you look at different data and charts, it's really not that different than it's been many years previous.
Right.
It's in some cases it's very equal to 2019. It's equal to 2015. I mean, there are still a lot of people moving and a lot of people buying and selling. And I want to encourage all of you today that there are right now, according to the National Association of Realtors, about 4.7 million transactions that are supposed to happen this year. That's what our current trend is, which means, again, roughly just under 10 million consumers that need help buying and selling.
Right.
And we often, anytime we're doing this podcast, we're talking about helping our consumers and serving them. We have a phrase we talk about at HomeSmart a lot, service, not sales. And it's about focusing on serving our customers. So even though we're talking about going and winning these listings or helping create inventory, we're trying to create inventory to help our buyers.
Right.
We have a 6.5 million unit housing shortage going on in the United States. So, we're doing this to help. So real quick, I won't go into all the details. I put up on the slide here. Section 1 here of the podcast, why is this opportunity so big? Well, the opportunity is big right now for this neighborhood report, and why it works so well is because of what? Demand is high. Mm-hmm. Active supply is low. Unemployment is back to pre-pandemic. There's open jobs. Rents are going up. People don't want to rent anymore.
Yeah.
And I was in Colorado 2 days ago. An agent told me that one of her customers said their rent went up 33%.
Ouch.
And they had to, they don't want to rent anymore. So they want to buy, but there isn't inventory. So let's go create some inventory. And then that's why this works so well. 6.5 million unit housing shortage in the U.S. Home building hasn't kept pace with new households being created every year. Every year, more and more households are created. And the home building industry just hasn't kept pace. Foreclosure data. Foreclosures are not rising. Foreclosure numbers are very low. And candidly, we've had strict lending standards for the last 16 years. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not that there's all of a sudden a bunch of inventory that's going to come on the market.
But if you listen to the news reports, you can get a skewed view of that. And there's a lot of folks who are saying, oh, the foreclosure inventory is coming. I was reading an article in a local publication, and let's see, this is early May. So it was probably about 9 months ago when I saw this. And they said, foreclosures are up 300%. And you go, oh my gosh, that's horrible. The sky is falling. What's happening? Well, you dig a little deeper and you get the data behind that statistic. So the month that they were quoting, and I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that they were quoting April of 2022 versus April of 2021. In April of 2021, you know how many pre-foreclosures there were, or properties that were in foreclosure? One. In all of Maricopa County, Arizona. There was one.
One.
And so in April of 2022, 1 year later, there were 3. Statistically speaking, the headline was correct. The article was correct.
Right.
Foreclosures are up 300%. But come on.
Okay.
3?
So all of you agents out there, this is the concept here that I guess we're trying to help communicate. The news media will often have these sound bites, just like what Rich just said, of, foreclosures up 300%. And it creates a perception with our buyers and sellers.
Right.
And it would be very different if they said it went from 1 to 3.
That's not sensational, though. That's not exciting, Todd.
I got it. I got it. But so then, therefore, what we want to do is share what's really going on. And again, why I think this
let's talk about the real numbers and the real data.
Is so timely. The last thing, real quick, just home prices are up from pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
So yes, transactions have slowed last year, and maybe home prices dipped. And in some markets, so I was in Colorado last week.
Yep.
There were 2 markets where one, home prices had dipped and they're already back up. And so they dipped in November, December last year, but they're already rising and back up from where they were. One, they've dipped and they've stayed down. So they were higher 3 months ago, but they're level where they are right now. But the misconception, I was talking with an agent and she said, yeah, home prices are down. And I said, down from where? And she said, well, they're down from where they were a couple months ago. And I said, where were they a year ago? And she said, oh, they're higher than home prices are up from where they were a year ago, but they're down from where they were a few months ago. So,
right.
So, home prices in general, they have been gradually rising. Wouldn't you say that that's really the case?
Oh, yeah. And over time, they always will.
Yeah. So that's why I guess the concept here, why the opportunity is so big. What's a great way for us to help buyers is to actually go create inventory and actually help sellers at the same time. Help buyers and sellers at the same time. So that's the concept of, and why I think the opportunity is so big. You have 140 million people at any moment that could sell. So if I'm going to invest 2 hours a week of my time, and that's all I have, I'm going to go where the opportunity is the biggest. The opportunity to me is 140 million people at any moment could sell. That's a huge opportunity. And number 2, that alleviates some roadblocks in our industry. It alleviates that low inventory problem.
So really what you're talking about is focusing your energies and your effort on an activity that will pay bigger dividends rather than going out there and spending a bunch of time, energy, and money on activities that have a low return.
Yes. Well, you and I were talking this morning about what if you lived in Florida or lived in a beach town, would you get more return on your time if you were selling sandals and board shorts and, bathing suits, or if you're selling parkas and scarves in a beach town? Which one would you get a bigger return?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So-
you're going to sell the beachwear
Right.
because that's where you are and that's what's more relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right now we have a low inventory problem. We have 140 million homeowners. They have equity in their homes. We just want to be there when at any given moment
We need to create relevant inventory.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we know that life's going to happen, and some of them are going to need to move. All right, so we got the opportunity.
So how
right?
does this mini
So
neighborhood
let me
work?
explain why it works and why I think it works so well and so quickly. And I'm going to tell you listeners, don't overcomplicate this. We're going to make it really simple. So here's how mini neighborhood report works. You start with just going to a website and taking a screenshot of what works, or taking a screenshot of a website on your phone of a neighborhood. So the example that I'm going to use, I'm going to pull up my phone right here real quick. And you go to a website, HomeSmart.com. You type in your neighborhood that you live in. I live in a neighborhood. Let's type in my address. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull up that map on your phone, but you're going to press the left button and the right button of your phone at the same time, and it should flash, and it just took a screenshot of what's on the screen.
Right.
So what I did, what you see on the screen right there, I went into a neighborhood, I put in an address, and you'll see a couple homes for sale. Do you see that?
Yep.
And I did that screenshot right there on my phone.
Uh-huh.
Now, I hit at the top, you see it says map and satellite. I'm going to switch to the satellite view, and I want you to visually look at the screen. I know some of you are listening on a podcast.
So for those who are watching, what you're showing on the right side of the screen is the map.
I am showing a map,
Right.
and in this particular case, it shows a red map dot like we're familiar to seeing when you put in a map location on your phone, right?
Yep.
And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 little home icons right there in that neighborhood. Because there's at this point there's 7 homes that are either for sale or pending or maybe for rent, right?
So visually, that's eye-catching. I'm getting the concept.
And the general concept is there aren't a lot of homes for sale in this area.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Inventory's low.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to switch it to satellite view. And when I switch it to satellite view,
Oh, wow.
does that change for you?
There's a whole lot of rooftops there
So
that don't have little icons on them. There's not very much for sale.
Right. So for those of you agents that are listening and watching again, you switch it from map to satellite view. Now you press the left and the right buttons on your phone again one more time. And what you're going to do is you're going to do a quick little screenshot of the property. And now you've got a screenshot of a neighborhood with a map view, and you've got a screenshot of a neighborhood with a satellite view. But the satellite view shows hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes.
Yeah.
And only a few are for sale. So for those watching the film version of the podcast here, I want to show you one other quick neighborhood. I was traveling up in Modesto last year. I did the same thing here. I went to the property search. The neighborhood I was in at the time, 1 home for sale. And that's on the map view. So you can see it, but I'm going to switch to the satellite view and then look at all those homes for sale and only 1 home for sale. So the map view with the satellite view is very impactful. And I think this is why the mini neighborhood report is so impactful. It says, look at all these homes in this neighborhood I live in, and yet there are only these many homes for sale. And it emotionally, it visually connects with the consumer.
Right.
And then you marry the other concepts that the home is in demand, they have equity in their home, maybe something that, life happens and then they need to move. They start to have that conversation. You're top of mind with awareness with them, and that's how listings kind of come out of nowhere. So, my concept here is that if I know I'm going to push you, I 1 a day would be great, but I'm going to challenge all of you to try to do mini neighborhood reports for the next 90 days, do 10 of them a day. So my concept, I'm going to show you, if you did that 10 a day, that would be 900 opportunities.
Wow.
Over a 90-day time period.
Yep.
Now, one question I get asked a lot is,
900.
Who do you send it to? Number 1, you're going to want to send a mini neighborhood report to every one of your past customers. So again, I was meeting with a group of agents last week, and I asked the whole room full, I said, how many of you have sent a neighborhood report to every one of your past customers in the last year? And no one raised their hand.
Right.
And they all started taking notes because they were like, this is a great idea. Every one of my customers that I sold a home to in the past should know this is what's going on in my neighborhood, in their neighborhood. This is what homes are worth. This is how many what price homes are selling for in this neighborhood. And so past customers, number 1.
Yep.
Sphere of influence. People that are in your sphere, you should also be sending them a neighborhood report. Remember, you're serving your customers, right?
Yeah.
So,
everybody wants to know what is going on in their neighborhood. They want to know what their house is worth, not because they want to sell necessarily. Right. They might have a life event coming, but everybody's interested in it. It's the number one topic at any party that you go to. The conversation always seems to come around to real estate, doesn't
But
it?
again, you, the agent, you're providing a valuable service.
Yeah.
You're providing them information about what's going on in their
Yeah.
neighborhood. And then, so past customers, sphere of influence. The third one, though, is farming a neighborhood. And I always ask agents, right now, go to your website, put in your address, pull up your neighborhood on your website, do the screenshots, and then think of all your neighbors that you could send this to. And then send it out to all your neighbors. Farm your neighborhood first. Farm every single home on your street. Tell every homeowner in your neighborhood what's going on in their neighborhood, what their home is worth, how many homes are for sale, how many, what prices they're selling for approximately, right?
Right.
And that's, so now are you seeing the
Yeah,
possibility
yeah.
of this?
Oh,
And so
this-
then you farm a neighborhood. There's an agent I was talking to down in Florida. They started with their neighborhood. They went to the neighborhood across the street next door, farmed that one. Then they went to a neighborhood a couple blocks away, farmed that one, and ended up farming 8 neighborhoods with these mini neighborhood reports. They generated a lot of listings
I bet.
because they were trying to spend their time where their time had the most impact. And there's something about this neighborhood report with the low inventory, high demand economy that we're in right now that then people say, okay, maybe I should sell, or life happens and then you just send them a neighborhood report. So the whole thing is if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. The last one here is new leads. Whenever you get a new lead, meet someone or you're unfolding them into your sphere, I would send them a neighborhood report. To me, a neighborhood report should be something we're doing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know what you're going to ask me.
What am I going to ask you, Todd?
If you want to farm a neighborhood, how do you get all the names, addresses, and phone numbers, or how do you know how to get it to all the people in your neighborhood? Right?
Yeah, you were talking about, the last two things, the neighborhood and then new leads. What did flash into my mind is, how do we go about getting those addresses? We exchange business cards at a meeting. We meet at a lead group or whatever it is. However, we met one another. How am I going to get the address? How do I track that down?
Right.
I'm always in real estate agent mode and looking for the practical application and what is the next step? How do I do this?
Right. Well, and that's where there are multiple sources out there. There's lots of data sources in the industry. One way is to work with your local title company or work with a mortgage company, work with your mortgage lender or your title partner, and they can help you with names, addresses, information if they have it.
Right.
But when I interview a lot of top agents and I'm asking them, why do you have so many more listings than all of the other agents in your area? What are you doing? And then an agent tells me, well, I have this secret, but don't tell anyone. So it makes me want to tell all the other agents what that secret is.
What's the secret? Are you going to tell us the secret?
The secret is Cole Realty Resource. This is, again, I'm not
Great.
sponsored by Cole Realty Resource, so this podcast isn't. They're not a sponsor in any way. I just know that many agents have had great success working with Cole Realty Resource, and they have names, addresses, information, phone numbers. They know who's on the do not call list, so they know they can help inform you correctly with information.
So when I first started in the real estate business, Todd, we had the Coles directory, and I'm sure that this is the same company. They have evolved.
It is.
But it was a book 3 times the thickness of a Phoenix phone book.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's like, you take this thing and you bring it up, ka-thunk.
Right.
There it goes on the desk,
Yep.
and you start going through. In fact, one of our cold calling methods was, here's the Coles directory.
Right.
Start with A.
Exactly. and that's exactly how Cole began.
So here it
so-
is, 2023,
Right.
and it's all online.
It is.
Much easier to use.
It is. Now, I was on a call yesterday with our top 250 agents. Several of the agents, I asked them, I said, hey, I know of Cole. Do you guys know of any other resources? And I can't think off the top of my head. I apologize to the listeners. There's a couple other resources out there that agents use to do the same thing. But the concept is you can find information out there
Yes.
that give you the information of every homeowner in, in neighborhoods by
Right.
zip code. And
Right.
so there are some great services. And then you can also, again, get with your partners to get that info. But the bottom line is, if you get that info, what is stopping you as an agent then from doing that with every homeowner in the U.S. in your area?
Right.
And to be doing multiple neighborhood reports a day. That's my thing, is that, if you want to farm a neighborhood, could you do 10 a day, and then 10 the next day, and then 10 the next day, and really farm a neighborhood? So to do that, though, it has to be fast and it has to be easy.
Yep.
So let's talk about 10 ways that you can do this that are very easy and fast for you to do.
All right.
Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
All
Let's
right.
do this.
All right. So the first way for me is to send a text. And what you're going to do is you're simply going to send a text that says, here's what's going on in your neighborhood. But before I do, I'm going to tell you why I think texting works so well. 98% of all text messages are read within 15 minutes of receipt.
Yeah.
I mean, consumers, they love texting. Texting to them is fast, it's easy, and it's safe. If I call them, they might not answer because they don't want to talk to me. They might not want to, get into an uncomfortable conversation. But if I text them,
Or they just don't have time.
or they don't have time. Yeah. So, but they respond to texts, and so for me, the low-hanging fruit is to start with a text of a mini neighborhood report. So here's the concept. Up on the screen there, for those of you that are watching, it's just a little text that says, "Hi, Todd and Kari. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to let you know that your home and your neighborhood is incredibly high demand right now. And this is what's going on in your neighborhood. In your neighborhood, only one home is for sale right now. 3 homes are pending. In the last 6 months, 7 homes have sold between this price and this price. And, you have equity in your home. You've owned it for a couple years. Your home prices have gone up. I just want you to know that your home's in high demand and that I'm here to help serve you." So after you type out a text of some sort like that, what you're going to do is then you're going to do those 2 screenshots that we talked about earlier. And you're going to send them the map view, and then you're going to send them the satellite view showing all the rooftops.
So let me ask you a question, Todd. Is the text alone without this graphic?
Yes.
Is the
So-
text alone effective by itself?
Yes, it is. But is it more effective showing the image? Yes.
I would argue that it is more effective.
It is
yes.
more effective.
Yeah, it's much more impactful.
And it adds a layer of complexity to send a map view and a satellite view. But it is more effective when you do that, because the satellite view shows all the rooftops. The map view, it's easier for them to see the numbers of homes. The satellite view, there's a golf course there. There's
why send
rooftops,
both?
everything.
Why
The
would I
reason-
not just send the map view? Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Because
I
on the-
misspoke. The satellite view.
Yeah.
I like to see the rooftops. To
Right.
me, that's very impactful. So why send both?
Why send both is
Yeah.
because in the satellite view, it is harder to pick out quickly the number of homes that
Got
are
it.
for sale. So the
Yeah,
first
I
one,
agree.
the
Yeah,
first one
that
shows
makes
the
sense.
scarcity.
Yeah.
The second one shows really drives it home.
Right.
And so again, yes, you could just send a text with the verbiage. But here's my question to all of you. I've done this in a live setting before with agents. I've said, right now, type out a text, something to this manner, and it takes them 15, 20 seconds to say, "Hi, Todd and Kari. It's been a while since we talked. I just wanted to say hi. I wanted to let you know what's going on in your neighborhood. This is how many, what's happened in the last couple of months, blah, blah, blah." 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, they have a text written out. And doing that screenshot view where you can actually, then you attach a photo, you go into your photos. So you're going to send the text in verbiage, then you're going to send an image, and then you're going to send an image. You're going to send 3 texts. You could do that in less than 2 minutes. So then 2 minutes, do that to 10 people, 10 past customers. So if you got 300 past customers right now, don't sit down and try to do all 300 all at once. You can. I commend you for doing that. I love that.
No, I think
But
what you
10
have
a
been
day.
talking about is 10 a day.
Just do 10.
So
Get
300,
'em out.
it should take you 30 days.
Take you 20 minutes, that day to do it, and then you
Yep.
go on about your day. But what you're doing is you're investing 20 minutes to an hour in your day, helping customers, helping create inventory, moving your business forward. And so I call it texting time. I have up on the screen here for those that are listening just an image of there's a glass of wine, a fireplace, and some feet, toasting by the fire.
In really comfy socks.
The reason is one day I was talking to an agent, and they live in Chicago. They had a snow day.
Right?
Schools got canceled.
We don't know what that is here in Arizona.
We don't know what that is here in Arizona, but there was a snow day, and the kids are home. Can't drive. All appointments get canceled. Everybody's hunkered down in their home.
No, it's real life.
And she had just heard about this, a neighborhood report, and she sat down and said, okay, can't do anything else today, so I'm going to sit in front of the fire and I'm going to do a couple neighborhood reports. And she got so much activity off of that. She's like, I'm going to start texting more on a daily basis.
She got responses the first day she was
got
doing it.
responses immediately. I was doing this in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and an agent in my class in the morning at 10 a.m. sent out a text just like I'm describing to all of you. And that evening I saw her at an awards banquet, and she's like, you'll never believe what happened. I sent that text out, and a customer that I sold a home to 3 years ago, hadn't been in touch with them, and she said, my husband and I were just talking, and we were thinking about moving to Florida from Georgia. Instead of living in Georgia, we're going to move to Florida. And your text came in. It's so timely. We would love to meet. We're thinking about selling.
Wow. Same day.
Same day. And this was a customer that they kind of lost touch with. They hadn't, but in my class, I was saying, one, right now, send out a neighborhood report to all your past customers. And it worked. So that's why I get passionate about this.
This is
and,
good
and
stuff.
about the little details, it really does work.
And we
So-
have clients crossing the Florida-Georgia line.
We do.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that's the band.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. But
the
anyway,
jokes don't get any better.
but texting, if we just stopped the podcast right here, you guys could all do that. You
Yeah.
could do these neighborhood reports by
Yep.
text all the time, right?
Yep.
Let's go on to a second way to do it, though.
All right.
Fast and easy. Video. I know some of you are terrified right now. Video, right? We don't like to be on video, but
We're always hypercritical about ourselves on video, right? I mean, we want to make
I
it
hate
perfect.
being on video right now. Right.
But there's a level of comfort in the discomfort that you feel after time.
There is.
And
Yep.
so, we just kind of suck it up and do it. But I think everybody, I'll speak for myself. When I was first doing video, I wanted to make everything perfect. I wanted to record the video, and then I wanted to edit it and take out all the ums and ers and the coughs because I have a tickle in my throat most of the time, and all of that nuisance stuff that we deal with.
I've been wanting to do that all morning as we've been recording this podcast because I keep stepping, I keep hitting the microphone, I'm saying things incorrectly. We want things to be perfect, but there's a difference between perfect and authentic. And
Exactly.
I think that video is very authentic, and I often have a phrase I like to use: shoot and send. And just like with this podcast, I have messed up a couple times already today on the podcast, but we're not going to...
And for those of you who caught it, awesome, that's great. Just take a tick mark and do that every time.
Exactly.
But the point is that we're shooting this live and letting it rip. You should do the same.
Right.
And your videos should be how long?
Authentic and real, and short as possible. As short as possible, but as long as they convey value.
Yeah.
So, but let's get back to the neighborhood report.
Yeah.
Using video.
Right.
Well, actually, let's continue. A lot of you don't like to be on video, like Rich said, because you don't like how you look. You don't like your hair doesn't look good that day. Maybe you're just,
I didn't get enough
whatever
sleep.
reason.
My
Yeah.
eyes are puffy.
And I'm
Whatever
just going to say,
it is.
get over it.
Right?
Get over it.
Yeah.
That's how you look. People love you
For who you are.
for who you are. Just shoot video. So for those of you that are watching, not just listening to the podcast, and I'll try to describe what's up on the screen. Up on the screen right now is a photograph of a video selfie, so to speak. So, in the background is a neighborhood marquee, and it says the Talon Retreat at Greyhawk, which is a neighborhood here in Arizona. So
Okay,
the concept.
so Todd, I'm going to stop you right here.
Yeah.
So you showed up here with your video crew and a tripod and a big expensive camera
No,
and shot this.
not at all. No, actually, on my way to work one morning, I just stopped right out in front of the marquee to create an example of 2 or 3 different neighborhoods in my area, and I shot little videos that said, "Hi, this is Todd. I'm out here in the Talon Retreat. Hey, this is Todd. I'm out here in the Raptor Retreat. Hey, this is Todd. I'm here in Peregrine Villas." And it took me all of about 30 seconds each video that I did.
You just did a selfie.
Did a
thing.
selfie.
Yeah, right?
Did a little video.
Yeah.
And so the concept here is that you're in a neighborhood. You go out to the front of the neighborhood, the entrance. There's always a marquee. And you pull out your phone and you get a little video and you say, "Hi, I'm out here in front of this neighborhood. I was just previewing some property. I was showing a client, previewing a home to show one of my buyers. And there are not enough homes for sale in this neighborhood. If you live in this neighborhood and you're thinking about selling, here's what's going on in your neighborhood. There's only one home for sale right now. Homes have sold between this price and this price." And you do a quick little mini neighborhood report. It's so easy to do. And then you send it to the homeowners in that neighborhood. It's not hard. You post it on your social media page. I challenged a group of agents one day, and I asked them in a room, I said, "How many of you have shown 30 properties in the last 2 months or gone and looked at property?"
Sure.
And they all raised their hand.
Yeah.
And I said, "How many of them would, in those 30 homes, were there at least 10 or 15 neighborhoods that you went to?"
yeah.
Because they're not all
Right.
in the
Yeah.
same neighborhood,
Yeah.
right? Everybody raised their hand. And I said, "How many of you have 15 videos of you in front of 15
How many
different
of you have
neighborhoods?"
any videos?
Correct. No one raised their hand.
Right.
So
Yeah.
one of our agents made the commitment, and this is a great idea for all of you listening. She built in 10 minutes before every appointment for the next 30 days. She said, "I'm going to go 10 minutes early when I preview a property, and I'm going to pull my car over to the side of the road. Right next to the marquee, I'm going to pull out my phone, do a selfie video, and I'm going to say, 'Hi, I'm Martha. I'm out here in this neighborhood, and this is what I'm doing,' and create a video." And she said 30 days later, I had 30 videos, 20 videos, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't a big project for her. It was just 5 minutes extra for her normal day.
Right.
But now she's got videos of her in every neighborhood, and she's got videos that she can send out, neighborhood reports.
Brilliant.
So are you seeing fast and easy so far?
I'm seeing as fast as possible and easy as possible. This is so realistic because it's timely and relevant as well. And
Well, gets back to that opportunity.
and people watch video.
People watch video. They do. They engage.
do. Yeah.
People engage with video. The reason why video is so powerful, texting is powerful, because even if they're in a meeting, they can read your texts.
Right.
And they will respond, and it's engaging. Video is powerful because it is sensory, visual, hearing, authentic. It's real. So, but it's also fast and easy. And don't make it perfect. Don't hire a video crew. Pull your own phone out and just do a little mini neighborhood report. So back to the example I used of your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Envision yourself going, so you're putting in your neighborhood, what's going on. You're letting every one of your neighbors know. So first is via text. The second way to do it is you go out to the front of your own neighborhood as an agent and do this video and make sure every one of your neighbors gets that video from you.
Love it.
Easy and fast, right?
Yeah.
But also impactful.
Very impactful.
So a third way, email. Email, believe it or not, some people still do read email.
Do they?
They still read email.
I get about 350 to 400 emails a day, and I'm intimate with my delete button.
That's right. Well, then, but that's why the concept here with this mini neighborhood report is to think about, it's one fabulous idea, but doing it 10 different ways. And one of them is going to resonate with a particular customer. One might gravitate toward texting. A younger homeowner might want video.
Right.
They're attracted to video. An older
and my baby boomer clients might
be
prefer
attracted
an email.
to a letter or to an email, right? So we created an email template for those of you that are HomeSmart agents. It's called the in your neighborhood report, the mini neighborhood report. If you log into the Marketing Design Center in Real Smart Agent, on your left-hand side of your dashboard, you'll see the marketing section. Click into marketing, go into the Marketing Design Center, and do a search for mini neighborhood report. A template will come up, and it has a place for you to put 1 or 2 photos and then some text underneath it. And the headline says, in your neighborhood, in bold letters, in your neighborhood. And underneath, it's like, this is what's going on. So it's a quick, easy template that you can download. Upload those screenshots that you took earlier. So the screenshots I was showing with the map view and the satellite view. And you're just saying, in your neighborhood, this is what's going on. And if you have the email addresses of 200 people in a neighborhood, you can email in one swoop out to those 200 people. If you want to get really granular or personable, do them one at a time to 10 people. 10 emails. Todd, here's what's going on in your neighborhood. It's a one-on-one email. So now you got texting, now you got video, now you got an email.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.